All right, so let's pass it back to you, ecosystem. Like, what's up? There's a lot going on, a lot of thoughts, a lot of things. I see some beautiful familiar faces. I see some names I've never seen. So anyone out there, would you like to share 30 seconds, what you're present to, what you're feeling, and maybe what ecosystems you're looking to merge with today? So who would like to share?
Good morning, Fernando. Tiffany Armstrong. Just want to give a shout out to all of you, community, ecosystem. You guys are amazing. Thank you for the love and support always. And Jay, we still got to talk, but it's all right. We'll figure it out. And Matt, shout out to Adam. Adam Gugino gave me a huge boost of confidence this weekend. I got my big eco merge call here at 8 a.m. Phoenix time, which is, I don't know, it's 5:30 right now. So I don't do math that early, but I'm just happy for all of the positive energy and everything given from you guys. So thank you.
You are very welcome.
Tiffany. Yeah,
Yes.
Thank you, Tiffany. Thank you, Fernando. And thank you, everybody, for being here. And happy Ecosystem Merger Mastery Monday. And a lot has happened without a shadow of a doubt. We are waking up to a very different world than even on Friday morning. So let's check in. Yes, a whole new world. Yeah, so let's check in on that. Got a little bit to chat about. So here is where I sit, and I think we are unified in the unblinded world on this, and check in on where you are. So I would have said a week ago that I think there was a bit potentially of over connectivity to the news. I think that there's always a bit of over connectivity to the news. At the same time, there is a very real dynamic. So I will give you my assessments on the very real dynamic from a health perspective. And it is not that everybody is going to get sick and going to pass away. However, it is that people can contract this illness and pass it along to people who are very susceptible. And it could stress, first of all, it could create enormous problems for those people who are older or have other immune system or cardiovascular challenges. And it could overwhelm our health system. And it could leave us in a situation like Italy has experienced, where people are not able to get the healthcare access to ventilators that they would otherwise need. So to me, what is at stake on a health level is really, it's about contribution and connection, because it's people who are not going to have a very serious health issue that, if we're not careful and intelligent and responsible, then we could be creating truly life and death situations for people who are susceptible. So there's a connect, we talk about the disconnect, the division, the challenges, the upset, the anger, the frustration that people feel in this country and in many places around the world, in the U.S. and many places around the world. And to me, this is an extraordinary opportunity for sacrifice and contribution, because as we sacrifice, and I had a beautiful conversation with my children last night, and they are calibrated, and I am thankful, and I'm proud. I mean, some of you heard Tyler, my son, introduced me on Unblinded, and he has been a tremendous advocate. He is not a worrier. He is an adventurer in life. We ski, we surf, we scuba dive with sharks, all those things that, I enjoy doing. He has been doing them with me since he was little, as well as my daughters. My daughters were scuba diving with sharks when they were both 10 years old. The three of us have been down in the water 50 sharks at a time by ourselves, and other very fun blizzards, skiing, crazy adventures. So we don't come from a place of worry. And my children, just by understanding the math and science behind what's happening, were very confronting my mom, their grandparents, on not taking this seriously enough, and the potential very serious health risks that are at stake. They're sacrificing seeing their friends, going out, and staying inside now to make sure that they, even though those health risks for them most likely wouldn't be very serious, they are very aware of their social responsibility towards other people. So that's my check-in. on the health dynamics, not at all, saying the world is ending, but that we have an amazing opportunity to give to other people by making sacrifices and making responsible decisions on the one hand. In terms of the economics of the situation, I think there are real challenges, and let's not pretend. There are real challenges that face our nation, that face people. A tremendous amount of people in this country are live paycheck to paycheck, and there are extraordinary challenges that exist for our nation, for the world, and for many people that are out there. Can we just mute everybody? I hear some beeping and things like that. If you just mute yourself, or if you can mute everybody real quick.
Hey, Sean, you're good to go. Hey, Sean, you there?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me? Okay, good.
Yep.
I think I got muted also.
Yep, that was my bad.
Okay, yeah, no worries, brother. Thank you. So in light of those challenges, at the same time, in the most challenging of times come extraordinary opportunity. It is time to enhance and optimize our skill sets in connecting with people by the telephone, in connecting with people online, in connecting with people without being live and present, in supporting people with hope, aspiration, truth. Not that, don't worry about it. Listen, this is heavy, right? It's heavy for people. And so when we're matching and mirroring with people, one of our indispensable elements, we want to make sure we connect with people truly where they are and what is. But what is not just the virus. It's not just people staying away from other human beings physically. It's also that there's extraordinary opportunities that we're not seeing in terms of how we connect telephonically, how we connect virtually, how we connect through social media and the internet. There's extraordinary possibilities. So what I want to put a flag in the ground for today is that this movement becomes a source of acceleration, a source of hope, a source of inspiration, a source of grounding, a source of treating things like not better than they are and not worse than they are. Like what is, and an acceleration, because what is extraordinary opportunity still. It's different, but I think that it's still extraordinary. And I think the opportunity, it's amazingly important that we instill hope, that we instill possibility, and we instill results for people right now. People need to make money. People need to be clear that they have a way forward for their businesses. And just being very candid, as I look at things for Category Law, this is a very, very complex dynamic for Category Law. We rely upon the court system in many ways and many aspects of our practice to be open and functioning. And parts of it are already closing down, and probably more of it will close down. So you're not hearing the voice of me saying, okay, it's great for you, Sean, because, you have no concern. I mean, I have extraordinary concern. I have a lot of people that work for me. And, I wake up on this Monday morning realizing that at Category Law, we are rapidly in contingency plan mode, but there's real challenges. And they are not small and they are not invisible. So I am very connected to the realities of what is, and we're working hard to innovate past those things, accelerate past those things that are probably even more complicated than just for what many people are dealing with just in terms of selling. But not as complicated as being an AMC movie theater, not as complicated as being restaurants that can close down, not as complicated as being a professional sports league and those dynamics and others. So all those things being said, I want everybody to realize that they're coming here for reality, not, Pollyanna falsity. But the reality is that it is up to us to step up in our leadership, to step up in our skills. It is time for you to be shooting videos. It is time for you to be reaching out to people virtually. it is time to use this huddle and this movement in ways that are at a completely different level than ever before, because the social proofing that you need for who you are, what you're up to, is the source here. And these dynamics are wildly important as we lose the ability to connect with people in person. So those are some of the things.
Sean, you wanted me to remind you of something, it's Rob.
Yeah, and hey, real quick, and this is a quick PSA. Rob Gill called me this morning, and just, Rob, if you could tell me what you told me this morning.
Yeah, so Sean, as everyone knows, that Epic is Sean's financial planner, as well as his coach and advocate when it comes to money. And I was just going over
as well as something I own a part of, right? So I do own a part of Epic. Yeah.
He does own a part of Epic, absolutely, 100%. And I had said to him that this is the normal time when you see people just go into massive panic mode financially because of everything Sean just mentioned. With that being said, though, I believe over the next 2 months, responsibility on speaking with your advisor and understanding what your goals and objectives are is real important, not to act irrationally. And I even said to Sean, for me, using this time as videos and phone calls and creating one-on-one connections with folks is very important. Now, as far as the market, I believe that you are going to see a precipitous drop short term. And I think over the next 4 to 6 weeks, somewhere in that space will be the bottom.
Yeah, and Rob, you said even today, so just bracing everybody, mentally and emotionally, that today it appears may be a very, very hard hit day. It's going to open up. You're going to hear a lot of doom and gloom, and just be prepared that it's just temporary. Everything is temporary. This too shall pass. And just stay focused on a long-term outcome, connect with each other, support each other, become very resourceful, entrepreneurial speaking, on how we could all help each other, communicate. If anyone ever wants to talk to anyone on my team offline, feel free to do it. We are doing all kinds of free anything you need right now, just so you know, in service of. And just be prepared that, the social the social state right now, and then the distancing, obviously take very serious. I have kids, and I have nephews and nieces, and then I have adults. My mom's still alive, and everyone can hurt everybody else if we're not careful. So I think that's the key, and just realize that the next 2 weeks it's going to probably get worse before it gets better. But the awareness seems to be in full effect right now. Yeah, and Rob mentioned, just for everybody, everybody's got different current financial situations, but Rob mentioned to me, for people that have money on the sideline, and, one might say, hey, the market has dropped, let me jump in right now. And what would be a prudent and intelligent thing to do would be to dollar cost average that over time. And
I beg Sean not to jump in today is the point. I beg anyone that's willing to listen not to take all their money and jump in yet.
Right, because we don't know what the bottom is.
Yes.
Market timing is guessing. Timing is guessing. Don't guess. People are like, oh, buy airline stocks because they're down a bunch. Like, don't guess. It's gambling. That's we're not giving financial advice over the phone line.
Nope.
And we're not saying what to do.
Sounds like
but
you are.
There is a little bit of what not to do. Right.
I would speak to your advisor, your accountant, and your attorney, but understand the long-term viewpoint.
Yeah. So be careful with how decisions are made about what you're doing right now, because a lot of people are getting scared and making decisions one way. Some people are getting overly confident and making decisions another way. And I would say responsibility, consultation, thinking, and spreading things out makes sense. So I heard a voice from somebody, was a male voice. Does somebody have something they want to share?
Yeah, Sean, I have a question.
Yes. Who's this?
This is Julian down in Fort Lauderdale.
Hey, Julian, how are you?
I'm doing well, man. This is off topic from the financial side, but I do a lot of work with couples who are in distressed marriages. And I try to incorporate some of the stuff that Tony talks about when I'm working with these couples. There's a question that I noticed Tony asks a lot of people in his interventions, and I was just wondering if you knew the philosophy behind the question, which is, whose love did you crave more, your mother or your father's?
I think I know the philosophy behind it, Julian, and you could educate me and everybody if I'm incorrect. I think that based upon, I think what Tony has said is based upon whose love we crave more, that's going to impact our behaviors. So we're going to be out there in the world engaging in behaviors consistent with our attempt to do things that would draw love, appreciation, and validation from. Can we mute everybody real quick? Okay, let's keep Julian. If you get muted, just unmute yourself. But Frando, again, somebody got unmuted.
Working on it.
Yep, all good. So, Julian, am I on the right track? That based upon whose love we crave more, that's how we go out into the world, and we may be unconscious to our behavioral patterns that are trying to find that love by engaging in patterns of behavior that we think would have brought that love. For example, I've engaged in caretaking relationships. I had a parent that had issues with alcohol. I craved that parent's love, and I would have engaged in behaviors consistent with maintaining peace, safety, security, avoiding conflict, and that could show up in my relationships and behaviors going forward. That's my best shot at it. How am I doing?
No. I don't.
Good.
I didn't know what the answer was, so I just wanted to hear your input, since I know that you're more familiar with his philosophies. No, I appreciate that.
Yeah. So, and what's really interesting on that question, Julian, that's a great question. Thank you. What's really interesting on that question is I've evaluated between my mother and my father whose love I actually crave the most. And sometimes that question has gotten slightly confusing for me. And I can see behavioral patterns that tilt both ways. So for my mom, I got incredible validation through achievement. And so there's times I've questioned, I'm like, wow, perhaps unknowingly I crave my mom's love more than my dad. Maybe my dad was more affectionate than my mom. So I've thought through it really deeply, because if I look at it, there's aspects that I might even morph that into. I think the parts of our parents' love that we craved in both directions, we may have behaviors that manifest. At least as I evaluate my own behavior, I can see aspects of love I crave from my mother and aspects of love that I crave from my father that were different, that have manifested in different behaviors that are both optimal and suboptimal. And that's why I love the formula. But Julian, that's a drop the mic question, and that's what we're here to do. So thank you, brother.
Appreciate the answer, man.
If I can jump in on that.
Hey, Sean.
Oh, boy, yeah. Who's the first one that said, can I jump in on it?
Tony.
And then we'll go to the person that said Sean second. Hey, Tony.
It's Tony. How's it going, brother?
Yeah, go, brother.
Great. Hey, I'd like to touch base on Rob's comment, but I'll do that afterwards. But the whole thing of whose love does you crave most in a relationship is the way you're going to wind up showing up in your relationship. And you're going to kind of take on a little bit more of what in other words, I think you kind of hit it spot on. I just wanted to touch on that for a second and say that the reason that question is asked is it can help you focus, right? Sometimes it's the questions that we ask give us clarity to why we're doing what we're doing. And sometimes just asking that question, you get the self-realization of like, okay, I'm doing this because of that. And so sometimes just being self-aware, it's not that anybody's got the answers, you've got the answers to your own questions, but just by asking that question makes you self-aware and say, okay, I'm doing this because that's what I would do to try to get that love from my mother or get that love from my father. But that isn't always going to work in every relationship. So anyway, I just wanted to give a little more depth to that. It's not that anybody's going to answer that question. You've got to answer that question for yourself and be aware of why you're making the decisions or taking the actions that you're taking. I don't know if that made it any more complicated or gave it a little bit more clarity or not.
Yeah, Tony, thank you, brother. Couldn't appreciate that more. You are awesome. And then I heard somebody else say Sean, right around the same time as Tony.
I believe
Sean,
that was Craig. Yep.
Yeah. Hey, Sean, how you
Hey,
doing?
Craig.
Beforehand, you said a male voice. It was me jumping on, and my kids were in the background, so I didn't want to make any noise. And it was just me getting on at the same time. But I did want to send my love and care to everybody out there. I know everybody's going through all the health questions and all the worries about money and everything going on in the world. And I just wanted to send my love out there and respect and joy for being a part of this community, as well as if anybody has anything that they would like to reach out for at any given time, I'm always free to speak to anybody if I can help in any way.
No, awesome, Craig. Thank you, brother.
Hey,
Sean.
Thank you. Just want to chime in.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead,
Yeah.
Kurt.
Was that Kurt?
Yeah. We talked about inclusion on Friday, and an image that comes to mind at this time is everyone on this call. We're seated around a campfire, and there are other people who are out there standing on the edges, on the periphery, who are in the cold. And so this is a really good time to think about those folks and be inclusive and bring them into the circle, bring them in next to the campfire. So I just urge everyone to think about that.
Thank you, brother, and thank you for your leadership. And I couldn't agree more that this is the time that we're going to be talking about this like intensely and consistently to do exactly what Kirk Adams, the president of the AFB, the American Foundation for the Blind, is sharing. It is time to bring people in, right? Bring people into the huddle, not simply for inspiration, but partially, but also for the skill development understanding of what can we do now to improve our skill sets, to be taking action, to be creating some acceleration in our life and business. And even if it feels far away or disconnected for people, like mastering the world of influence is critical, and understanding what to do with it is critical. And there's tremendous space right now and time for a lot of people. It may not feel that way, but for a lot of folks right now, I had some meetings the other day, and I'd step out of the room, I come back in, and everybody's watching the news. And I am completely taking this seriously at a super high level. And taking it seriously does not mean watching the news all day. It just doesn't. That's not going to serve your psyche. It's not going to serve anything. Check in for sure, but watching it minute to minute, there's just nothing it's going to do. I mean, I could say, you want the news? Here's the news. Like, we're going to end up most likely not encountering other people outside of our home for the most part. And it's going to be, which thing closed next. Restaurants will close. Takeout may eventually close. It's going to come down to going to the grocery store, come back into our house, and reaching out to people through telephones and computers. That's the news. That's what's going to happen. The market's going to be extremely volatile. There'll be precipitous drops. And I don't know that listening to people screaming about how nothing like this has ever happened before, how, this is heading towards Great Depression numbers. I don't know how listening to people talk about the dramatic contextualizing of what's occurring is going to help anyone. So my recommendation, I'm not going to recommend what to do financially other than don't gamble and think through things and talk to a number of people and read a lot, right, before you make decisions, because the reality is that guessing equals getting hurt for the most part. You may gamble and be right. That's up to you, right? But, I think that'd be the one thing I would say not to do, and to make really strategic decisions. If you listen to the information all day long about this, you're going to really make yourself feel sick. You're going to turn this into how many dramatic contextualizing stories you could tell about how unprecedented this is, and what I'll challenge everybody to do, and myself, because I was into some of that contextualizing last night and talking to my kids. I'm challenging myself to do is to make this the greatest time of acceleration of my entire life. That's what I'm challenging myself to do. And I'll issue that challenge out to everybody else. Make this the time of the greatest acceleration of your life. And that's not fanciful. That's not silly. It's real. because the greatest times of acceleration in my life have been when I've gotten with myself, I've thought, I've confronted myself and the skill sets I needed to accelerate, and that's what I'm doing right now again. And I'm looking at this as the third great time of advancement of my life. I have 2 prior. This is the third, and I'm committed to it. And I'll invite you to join me. I'll invite you to be here in these huddles. I'm going to shoot more videos than I've ever shot in my life. I'm committed to doing more webinars than I've ever done in my life. I'm continued to more leadership than I've ever engaged in my life. And those are all challenges that are available to you. And I'm so grateful that you're here. I'm so grateful, as Kirk said, we have this campfire together every day. And let's build it. Like, let's build it. And everybody brings somebody new every day. Let's get this to 250 to 500 people in these huddles every day by Friday. And you go, well, that's self-serving for you, Sean. Yeah, I would benefit from that, I'm sure. And so would you. Because if you're bringing people here and you have the social proofing, the connective dynamic for your relationship development, this is a tremendous accelerant and resource for you. And influencers influencing influencers to merge ecosystems for 1 + 1 = 1 trillion relationships, or at least more than 10, to make the world an even greater place is about win-win. So this has been created for you to win. And if you win, we win. That's true. Absolutely, unequivocally. But you win too. And I guarantee you, individually, each person is going to win a lot more by what will happen by bringing people here and focusing on how to create webinars, videos, and improve your skill sets to accelerate your business. And the only way that's going to be possible, because for a little while, it's not going to be possible in person. And improving these skill sets now is what's up. So that said, Jarrett, what's present for you and what's cooking?
Hello, everybody. Happy Monday. What's present to me is how special this is to know that every day you have a place to go that's a beacon of hope in this convoluted world right now, a place to go for skill development, for inspiration, for proximity, for connection. That's what's present to me. What's also present to me is many of you, and I love this, are asking, when are we doing our events? And I love that. I love the desire for us to connect once again. We had everything set up for May, and obviously those dates will be moved out. But for those that are in the mastery program, the date is still included in your tuition. So whenever those events happen, you have access to it. But what we are doing is within the next 7 to 10 days, you'll learn about a virtual conference that we're putting on, which for the mastery students is going to be included. It's going to be an Influence Mastery virtual conference. Really cool technology we're using. Obviously being together in person would be beautiful and special, but this is going to be a close second. We're going to really create a wonderful dynamic for you to connect and merge ecosystems virtually and also learn from Sean as well. So within the next 7 to 10 days, you'll hear all of the details. We're just testing a few different platforms just to ensure that they can do what we want. And then we'll go live and we'll announce it and then we'll invite you. And once again, if you are in our mastery program, this is included in your tuition. So what's present for me is innovation, iteration. It's each and every one of you having a slightly louder voice in the lives of the people that you care about, simply by showing up, getting on video, calling people, sharing your love and your compassion and your desire to serve, and being a different voice, because there's one voice on the news, which, like Sean said, it's an important voice, but it shouldn't be an all-consuming voice. And your voice might just be a little bit louder than the news, which helps people see that this too will come to an end. Back to you, Sean.
Yep. Challenge for today on Ecosystem Merger Monday is type out or write down the 10 most important people for you to connect with one-on-one, the 10 most. And I would make 7 of those the ones that you have a little bit more access to, and 3 of those a bit of a reach, and begin the process of reaching out, connecting, and creating things. Videos, webinars, future business, over the phone sales, 10 people, create your list, 7 and 3, and that's your homework, your challenge, your assignment, your opportunity on this Ecosystem Merger Monday, as well as being in the highest level of self-mastery. Physically engage your body, soak off the cortisol, get inside your body, take a deep breath, learn and improve your skill sets, lead and inspire others, and let's make this the source for people's catching their breath, coming back, shaking off what's happening on a daily basis, because you're going to get hit hard every day with amazing amounts of cortisol, stress, fear, challenges. Let's galvanize. Let's get grounding here, improve our skill sets, and accelerate forward. Have an amazing Ecosystem Merger Monday day. Everybody, truly are my thoughts and prayers. Globally, that's what's up, and have an amazing day. Thanks.
Thanks, Sean. Glad to be here.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sean.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Very, very grateful for this call and this group.
Thank you, Sean.
Thank you, everybody, and
Thank
remember
you.
to help each other, guys, because there's a lot of people out there that are able to get the things that some people are able to get, and there's other people that are stressing out over it. So just remember to be there for somebody.
Amen.
Same here. I'm here for you guys if you need anything.
Thank you, Sean.
Yeah,
Thank you,
and yeah, by all
Be
means,
well.
use, guys, by the way, before everybody hangs up, use this Facebook page, use this group. If you need anything from anybody, by all means, ask. Don't let your ego or your pride keep you from asking for help if you need it. So use this community. Certainly, I'm in New Jersey. If I can help anybody, if there's something that I can do to help somebody, I'm here. And just remember to help each other and use this community. There's other groups that are being formed to help people with resources and everything else. Don't forget that this group is also a resource for you.
No, thank you, Tony. That is awesome. You're a
Thank
great leader,
you.
brother.
You got it, brother. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.